11 Japanese cars didn't get banned because they were dangerous. They got banned because they were embarrassingly fast. One had an engine Nissan lied about for over a decade. Another got pulled from dealer lots after regulators realized what they'd accidentally approved. And one was so fast in stock form that tuners barely needed to touch it. These weren't race cars. They were road cars, affordable ones. And that's exactly what made them a problem. Number 11, 1999 Nissan Skyline GTR. Most people know the R34 as the car that made Paul Walker famous. What they don't know is that governments were already trying to get rid of it before the movie even came out. The 1999 Nissan Skyline GTR V-Spec came with a 2.6-liter twin-turbocharged RB26 inline-six. Nissan officially rated it at 276 horsepower. That number was a lie. Every tuner, every dyno operator, and every government performance assessor knew it. Real output sat closer to 320 at the wheels, around 380 at the crank. Nissan kept the fiction alive to stay inside Japan's gentleman's agreement, a voluntary industry cap that was about as voluntary as a speeding ticket. Then there was the Atessa ETS all-wheel drive system, four-wheel steering, a chassis computer that could react faster than any human reflex. It launched to 60 miles per hour in 4.6 seconds and didn't stop pulling until it hit the electronic limiter at 112 miles per hour. Australia moved first. The R34 landed on the high-performance vehicle restriction list before most dealerships had even taken delivery. Provisional drivers, anyone under 25 or with less than a year of experience, couldn't legally touch one. Insurance companies flagged it. Police units across New South Wales and Victoria were briefed on it. In some states, getting caught behind the wheel without a full license meant immediate impoundment. Nissan never sent it to the U.S. either. Emissions compliance, crash testing, and left-hand drive conversion costs made it financially pointless. Americans watched from the outside for 2 decades, until the 25-year import rule cracked the door open in 2024. By then, prices had cleared 6 figures. It wasn't banned for being built badly. It was banned because it handed young drivers technology that could humiliate cars worth 3 times the price. And that made it a problem no government wanted to deal with. They banned the car. The legend just kept growing. Number 10, 1998 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 5 GSR. It looked like a rental car, a plain, forgettable sedan that wouldn't turn a single head in a car park. And that was the most dangerous thing about it. The 1998 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 5 GSR was built at the peak of Japan's rally dominance, and Mitsubishi didn't bother hiding what it was for. Under the anonymous bodywork sat a 2.0-liter turbocharged 4G63 engine, producing 276 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. Paired with Mitsubishi's active yaw control all-wheel drive system, it could launch to 60 miles per hour in 4.6 seconds and corner like it was on rails. But here's what actually terrified regulators. It was based on a Lancer, the same platform Mitsubishi sold as a budget commuter to families and first-time buyers. That meant it looked completely harmless at a glance. No wide arches, screaming performance, no aggressive badging warning you what was underneath. Just a gray sedan that could embarrass a Porsche off the line. Australia added it to the restricted list immediately. The UK was worse. Insurance companies refused to cover drivers under 25 outright, and the ones that did quoted premiums hitting $10,000 a year. New Zealand followed. Even in Japan, where it was built and celebrated, police began targeting modified Evos during late 90s street racing crackdowns. Every kid with a tuning magazine and a second-hand car budget wanted one. Mitsubishi had accidentally built the perfect weapon for the wrong hands, and regulators across 4 countries decided that was everyone's problem except Mitsubishi's. A wolf in rental car's clothing. Number 9, 1994 Mazda RX-7 Type R Bathurst FD3S FD3S. Mazda built this one to win a single race. It won, and then owning one became an insurance nightmare that followed the car for the next 30 years. The FD-RX-7 was already an icon before the Bathurst edition existed. All curves, pop-up headlights, and a rotary engine that sounded like nothing else on the road. But the Type R Bathurst wasn't just another RX-7. It was a homologation special built exclusively to compete in the 1994 Bathurst 12-hour race. Mazda made 350 of them. That's it. Under the hood sat the 13B-REW twin-turbocharged rotary engine, officially rated at 252 horsepower. Officially. Real dyno numbers told a different story, closer to 280, and that was before anyone started modifying them. Mazda stripped weight wherever they could find it. Thinner glass, no rear wiper, lighter wheels, a racing-tuned suspension that had no business being street legal. The result was a car that hit 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds and handled like it was surgically attached to the tarmac. Then the problem started. In Australia, where the car was actually sold, it landed on the provisional driver restriction list almost immediately. Insurance companies looked at the rotary engine's reputation for catastrophic failure under boost, combined with the car's cult status in the street racing scene, had either refused coverage entirely or quoted rates that made ownership impossible for anyone under 30. In the US, it was never officially imported. Gray market units that made it through faced emissions compliance nightmares. Rotary engines drink fuel and produce hydrocarbons at a rate that made American regulators visibly uncomfortable. Mazda built a race car, put number plates on it, and sold it to the public. The world took one look and decided most people didn't deserve to drive it. And honestly, the world was probably right. Number 8. The 1990 Nissan 300ZX twin-turbo Z32. Nobody expected this one, and that was exactly the problem. The 1990 Nissan 300ZX twin-turbo looked like a Grand Tour. Sleek, sculpted, the kind of car you'd see parked outside a decent restaurant and think nothing of it. No aggressive stance, no oversized wing, nothing that screamed danger from across a car park. It just looked refined. Under that civilized exterior sat a 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged V6, producing 300 horsepower and 283 pound-feet of torque. In 1990, those were supercar numbers. Ferrari's entry-level offering that year made less power. The 300ZX launched to 60 miles per hour in 5 seconds flat and kept pulling in a way that made experienced drivers nervous. Nissan engineered it properly, too. 4-wheel steering, electronic suspension damping that adjusted in real time. A chassis balanced so well it could handle mountain roads at speeds that had no business being legal. This wasn't a muscle car throwing power at a problem. It was a precision instrument dressed in a suit. Australia flagged it. European licensing boards added it to restricted lists. Insurance companies across the UK quietly started declining applications from younger drivers without explanation. Nissan didn't push back. Maintenance was expensive. The twin turbos demanded constant attention, and reliability complaints were already piling up. They let the car fade quietly. But for a few years in the early 90s, the 300ZX sat at a table it had no right being at. Sports cars twice its price had to take it seriously, and the authorities had to take it seriously too. Not because it was reckless, because it was devastatingly coveted. Number 7. 1995 Toyota Celica GT4 ST205. This one didn't just get banned from roads, it got banned from motorsport first. And the story of how that happened is one of the most brazen things a manufacturer has ever done in competitive racing. Toyota had a point to prove in the early 90s. They'd been competitive in the World Rally Championship, but never dominant, so they built something that would fix that. The 1995 Celica GT4 ST205 arrived with a 2.0-liter turbocharged 3S GTE engine producing 252 horsepower, an advanced all-wheel drive system, and super strut suspension lifted directly from Toyota's motorsport division. On paper, it was fast. On a rally stage, it was untouchable. During the 1995 WRC season, FIA officials discovered a hidden device inside the ST205's intake system, a turbo restrictor bypass machined so precisely and concealed so carefully that investigators initially couldn't believe it was intentional. It allowed the car to run significantly higher boost pressure than regulations permitted, giving it a power advantage that no legitimate setup could match. FIA officials publicly called it the most ingenious rule violation they had ever seen. Toyota called it a mistake. Nobody believed them. The punishment was immediate. Toyota was banned from the World Rally Championship for 12 months. The Celica GT4's reputation was destroyed overnight. The road cars were completely legal, but the stigma followed every single one of them. Insurance premiums spiked. Australia and New Zealand banned provisional drivers from owning one, despite it being front-wheel drive biased in normal conditions. Governments lumped it in with the Skylines and Evos as if the scandal had contaminated the entire model line. Toyota never really talked about the ST205 again. Some mistakes you just quietly park and walk away from. Number 6. 1997 Subaru Impreza 22B STI. Subaru made 400 of these. Not 400,000. Not 4,000. 400. And somehow that was still enough to get it banned across 3 continents. The 1997 Subaru Impreza 22B STI wasn't a special edition in the marketing sense. It was a complete reimagining, built to celebrate Subaru's World Rally Championship success and the company's 40th anniversary. Engineers took the already legendary Impreza platform and rebuilt it from the ground up. Wider bodywork with massive fender flares. The unique coupe roofline that never appeared on any other Impreza. Gold BBS wheels that became instantly iconic. And underneath all of it, a D-stroked 2.2-liter flat-4 turbocharged engine, officially making 276 horsepower. The suspension was tuned by rally engineers who'd spent years developing cars for the most brutal road conditions on Earth. The all-wheel drive system was bulletproof. The whole package weighed just 2,580 pounds. It hit 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds, and it cornered in a way that made physics feel negotiable. Subaru never exported a single one. All 400 units stayed in Japan. That didn't stop the grey market from trying. In the UK, imported 22Bs immediately attracted insurance premiums exceeding £15,000 a year for drivers under 30. Australia banned provisional drivers from owning them outright. In the US, the 25-year import rule kept them locked out until 2022, by which point prices had exploded past $200,000. Subaru built a legend, deliberately kept it scarce, then watched helplessly as governments around the world decided even 400 units was too many. 400 cars, 3 continents, 0 exports. All banned. Number 5. 1999 Honda Civic Type R EK9. No turbo, no all-wheel drive, no launch control, no electronic safety net of any kind. Just a screaming, naturally aspirated engine and a chassis so perfectly sorted that it embarrassed cars with twice the power. And somehow, that was enough to get it banned. The 1999 Honda Civic Type R EK9 was Honda's answer to a question nobody else was asking. While Mitsubishi and Subaru were bolting turbos onto rally platforms and calling them road cars, Honda went in the opposite direction entirely. They took a lightweight Civic hatchback, stripped out everything that wasn't essential, and dropped in a hand-built 1.6-liter B16B engine that revved to 8,400 RPM and produced 182 horsepower. That number sounds modest until you realize the car weighed just 2,340 pounds. The power-to-weight ratio was absurd, and the VTEC system's top-end delivery wasn't just fast, it was violent. The engine would pull cleanly through the mid-range, hit the cam crossover point, and simply detonate. Drivers who weren't ready for it made expensive mistakes. Honda only built it for Japan. No exports, no exceptions. The UK ignored that entirely and imported them in massive numbers through the early 2000s. That's when the problem started. The EK9 became the centerpiece of the street racing scene almost overnight. Police targeted it specifically. Insurance companies either refused coverage outright or quoted premiums that made ownership financially impossible for anyone under 25. Theft rates climbed because the Type R badge had become a status symbol in tuning culture. Australia added it to the provisional restriction list. New Zealand followed. Grey market units in the US faced emissions rejections and registration denials. Honda built the perfect driver's car. The streets turned it into something else entirely. Number 4. 2002 Nissan Stagea 260 RS Autech. It had 4 doors, a long roofline, enough boot space for a week's worth of groceries, and the exact same engine as the R34 Skyline GTR. Nobody saw it coming. That was entirely the point. The 2002 Nissan Stagea 260 RS Autech looked like something a suburban father drives to school drop-off and back. Nothing about its silhouette suggested performance. Nothing about its badge suggested danger. It was a station wagon in every visual sense of the word. But Autech, Nissan's in-house tuning division, had decided that practicality and devastation weren't mutually exclusive. Under the bonnet sat the RB26, the same 2.6-liter twin-turbocharged inline-six that powered the R34 GTR, making the same underrated 276 horsepower, backed by the same Atessa ETS all-wheel drive system, upgraded brakes, a strengthened transmission, sport-tuned suspension that had no business being underneath a family wagon. It launched to 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds, while carrying luggage, while looking completely innocent at every speed camera it passed. Street racers figured it out almost immediately. Tuners realized it had identical modification potential to the Skyline, and once that community started talking, regulators started listening. Australia placed it on the high-performance restriction list, despite its wagon body. Nissan only built around 2,500 units through Autech, all exclusively for Japan, and never once marketed it as a performance vehicle. A family car, a race engine, a disguise so convincing it fooled governments for years. Number 3. 1998 Mitsubishi FTO GPX. Most people outside Japan have never heard of this one. The ones who have know exactly why it ended up on every insurance blacklist in the English-speaking world. The 1998 Mitsubishi FTO GPX was built to compete with the Integra Type R and the Honda Prelude. 2 doors, pop-up headlights, aggressive styling that looked like it belonged on a bedroom poster. But the engine underneath was what made it genuinely special. A 2.0-liter MiVec V6, one of the smallest V6 configurations ever fitted to a production car, producing 197 horsepower and revving to a stratospheric 8,000 RPM. The sound it made at full chaff was the kind that made bystanders stop walking and turn around. It was front-wheel drive, but Mitsubishi equipped it with a viscous limited-slip differential, 4-wheel disc brakes, and steering precise enough to make the chassis balance feel genuinely neutral through fast corners. It hit 60 miles per hour in 6.8 seconds, which wasn't headline-grabbing on paper, but the way it built speed, the way it responded, made it feel considerably quicker than the number suggested. Mitsubishi never sold it outside Japan. The UK imported thousands anyway. And that's when things unraveled. Ireland flagged it as one of the most frequently crashed sports cars in the country. Australia added it to watch lists. New Zealand restricted it for provisional drivers. Mitsubishi built a brilliant driver's car. Its affordability made it a target. Its popularity with young enthusiasts made it a liability that nobody wanted on public roads. Some cars earn their reputation on the track. This one earned it everywhere else. Number 2. 1994 Nissan Pulsar GTIR. Nissan took a car people bought because it was cheap and sensible. Then they put a rally monster inside it and sold it to the public with a straight face. The 1994 Nissan Pulsar GTIR existed for one reason: homologation. Nissan needed to produce at least 5,000 road-going units to qualify the platform for Group A rallying. So they built exactly that, the minimum number required, and in doing so accidentally created one of the most underrated performance cars of the entire decade. Under the completely ordinary exterior sat a 2.0-liter turbocharged SR20 engine, producing 227 horsepower and 206 pound-feet of torque, paired with an all-wheel drive system borrowed directly from the Skyline GTR's Atessa technology. The Pulsar weighed just 2,580 pounds. That power-to-weight ratio translated to a 0 to 60 time of 5.4 seconds, faster than a contemporary Porsche 944 Turbo, in a car that looked like it should be delivering newspapers. The invisibility factor was total. Badge it as a base Pulsar and nobody looked twice. Police didn't recognize it, speed camera operators didn't flag it, other drivers didn't respect it. until it was already gone. Tuners quickly discovered the SR20 engine could handle serious power upgrades with basic bolt-on modifications, turning an already rapid car into something genuinely untouchable. The UK imported thousands. Insurance companies responded aggressively. Premiums became unaffordable for anyone under 30. Outright refusals became common. Australia added it to the provisional driver ban list. New Zealand restricted it alongside the Evos and Skylines, which for a car based on an economy platform was a remarkable distinction. Nissan built it to satisfy a rulebook. What they actually created was a weapon in a disguise so convincing that even the authorities took years to realize what they were dealing with. Built to me a minimum, became something maximum. Number 1. 1999 Nissan Skyline GTR. Every other car on this list got banned because governments and insurance companies decided they were too fast for public roads. This one got banned because it was barely a road car to begin with. The 1999 Nissan Skyline GTR wasn't built for enthusiasts. It wasn't built for collectors. It wasn't built for the street racing scene that made the R34 legendary. It was built for one purpose: endurance racing. And Nissan produced just enough units to meet the minimum homologation requirements. We're talking dozens of cars per year. Most went directly to racing teams and never saw a public road. The ones that did were on a different level entirely. The N1 package started with a blueprinted and balanced RB26 engine, stripped of every unnecessary component, fitted with reinforced internals, upgraded oil pumps, and a racing spec clutch that made daily driving an exercise in patience. Officially, it still made 276 horsepower. That number was more fictional here than anywhere else on this list. The engine was built from the factory to handle over 600 horsepower with minimal modification, not after years of tuning. From the factory. The suspension was stiffer than the standard V-spec. The brakes were larger. The interior was gutted completely. No radio, no air conditioning, no sound deadening. Every surface that could be stripped was stripped. This was a race car. It had number plates because it legally had to. No Western emission standard would touch it. No insurance company would price it. In Australia, the handful of grey market N1s that made it through customs were flagged immediately and banned from road use based on their racing spec modifications alone. The UK classified them as track-only vehicles. In the US, even with the 25-year import rule now open, most N1s remain off-limits due to their homologation status and the near total absence of original compliance documentation. Every car on this list was banned for being too fast. The N1 was banned for being something worse. It was banned for being a race car that someone had bothered to give an address. And no government on earth knew what to do with that.